I've spent 4 years having a fuck ton of fun being Pave Darker. My ego swelled and I built a bit of a brand. Not, I'm not tearing down fucking mainstream media anytime soon, but I had a nice little following. And they were good people who wanted to share ideas and engage, because that's what I always tried to encourage. Get people talking, get people thinking, get people analysing the world around them in a more effective manner. Everything that I have done in an attempt to teach. The reason I write in threads is because it's breaking the content down into bite-sized chunks. Makes it easier to understand, easier to follow the through logic. Rather than some intimidating wall of text, you can come in at any point, you can take sections of it, you can branch off it, you can take your own ideas off in another direction with it, you can quote tweet it and start your own fucking thread. And that's the point. Collaboration and teaching. All I ever wanted to do. And I've had a lot of fucking fun doing this. But the one thing I've come to realise more than anything else is that it's going to sound like a weird contradiction. And yes, I know it is a fucking meme. Anon does not mean anonymity, it means unity. Of course it does. We've gotten hung up on this idea of anonymity in terms of, don't know my real name. But that's only part of it. Problem when you build up a brand is people see you coming. Think in terms of, Ali G a few years ago. The joke's really funny for one season because nobody he's talking to is in on the joke. Once people see you coming, your effectiveness goes down the fucking toilet. You lose the element of surprise. You lose the ability to engage somebody without a history, without baggage, without easily called out characteristics that can be used to discredit you. You engage on a completely even plane. It's an equalizer. You get these fuckheads, and they will not engage with somebody that they know is going to throw them a beating, that is going to tear them a new arsehole right the way across Twitter. If you've got a reputation, if you're known to them, if you've wiped the floor with them before, guess what? They're going to block you and they're going to move on. And as soon as they've blocked you out of the conversation, they can just carry on spewing their propaganda, and there's nobody left there to correct it. I mean, you talk about sort of social media censorship and what have you, but the most dangerous echo chamber of all is not created by Twitter having a left or right-leaning bias. We build our own echo chambers. Whether your tweets are restricted, shadow banned, whatever it may be, if you are blocked with somebody, they cannot see what you're saying. They cannot see your counterpoint. They cannot see reasoned arguments. You've seen it on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. That which is uncomfortable to these people gets blocked out. They don't have to deal with it. They don't have to face up to it. And some people on our side do the same. I'm a great fan of James Woods, but the Instablock thing is just fucking stupid. They're idiots. Dunk on them. What more do you need? But back to the point. So, I've built a little bit of a brand. Nothing big. I mean, I think I peaked at about 7,000 followers and what have you. But I was able to do some reasonably big things. And it was fun. And I met some really fucking cool people along the way and had a lot of fun with it. And at some point, in order to be effective, you need to go back to base principles. Old fags out there will understand exactly what I'm talking about. The cancer of the internet is not social media censorship or anything like this. The cancer of the internet is the profile page. This is me. Look at me. Look at the things that I believe. This is my identity. And because of that identity, everything I say is going to be skewed in your eyes. And because I can fall back on platitudes or follow accounts or whatever it may be, it's easy. You can just keep ploughing through that path of least resistance, and nothing's ever going to fucking change in your world. The beauty of the internet, what it really fucking gave us, is the ability to throw all that shit away and say, here are my arguments, here is what I believe, prove me wrong. Throw it all back to Socratic method, if you will. The ability to challenge ideas. And this is the bit that a lot of people don't seem to understand particularly when they're talking about the Chans and what have you. The reason that you can't ever properly infiltrate the Chans is because there is no identity in there. Now you might think, oh well, that makes it really easy to infiltrate them because, you know, nobody knows who anybody is, so I can just hide and pipe up with something and I can sway the narrative. But the point is, when you're hiding in an anonymous sense, a genuinely anonymous sense where you have no name, no avatar, none of this shit, just a fucking post number, your idea has to stand on its own merit. Now, if your idea is good, people will latch onto it, people will agree with it, people will vibe off of it. It'll go places. If your idea is shit, it'll get slid. That's how it works. That is the genius of what the internet gave us, is this ability to filter. Once you take this cult of personality, this argument to authority away, you can rip it all back and say, this is the true information. Here is how I can prove this information. I am not asking you to believe me, the person. I'm asking you to believe this series of facts that I can lay out to you in a consistent timeline that illustrates what I am saying. Journalism is dead because it was commoditized, because it was branded, because it was set into these institutions that developed some, through hard work initially, developed this sense of these people have been trading off the names, standing on the shoulders of great journalists in order to feed you bullshit and expect you to just take it on faith. And it's all interconnected when you think about it. Why do you think there's this push with the Me Too movement to work on the basis of guilty until proven innocent? And every weapon they have isn't based around being able to dismantle you logically. They're obsessed now with doxing because they can dismantle you in the real world for what you're saying online. But they can't dismantle you if they can't find you. The longer you stay within a persona, even as your accounts get deleted or banned or whatever it may be, there's gonna be fucking archives. You're leaving a trail, and eventually somebody is gonna find you. And that's where their power kicks in, because then they can fucking drag your name through the mud, then they can throw your picture up on the television, then they can destroy you. Because once you get out onto that platform, you're fighting them on an even field. And they have a lot more resources than you do. If you can learn to exist on accounts that never last for more than 6 months, the probability of you slipping up, of you letting some singular piece of information slip about who you are, diminishes significantly. It'll cripple them. And that's kind of where I'm at the moment. We've got 2020 coming up. There's a lot of work to be done. We've got Brexit coming up. And I want to go out there and wreck Jack Dorsey's shit. And as long as his moderators and algorithms can see me, my hashtag, my fucking profile picture coming, they've got 1,000,001 defences for that. What they have not got a defence against is the human spirit. I know this is going to sound cheesy as fuck, but it's true. Will to carry on. Adaptability. They have all these fucking weapons, but it's all based on being able to monitor a set trend in your behaviour, in your activity. And they do this, I have no doubt whatsoever, they've linked up data from each of your previous accounts in order to predict your patterns of behaviour. You need to dismantle everything about your persona and craft something new over and over and over and over again. You can run 3, 4, 5, 6 different accounts all at once, all pushing a different behavioural type. And if you do this, you can fuck with the data set. Because this is the thing that people have got to fucking realise if we're going to have any chance of winning this culture war online. The majority of the moderation that's going on is not a human being with bright blue hair screaming at a monitor as she hits the ban button. It's keywords, it's algorithms. You're getting popped off, not by report fags, because we know. I've seen them fucking celebrating my demise while I'm still on an active account because they've had their little report come back, but it doesn't pop you off. The less predictable we can be, the harder their job becomes. And that's the beauty of it. I've talked before about the idea of Clwyd Piven being used on the border to overload the immigration system. We can take that tactic and use it to annihilate the systems of censorship that they're putting in place. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands of accounts, all behaving in markedly different ways that are not reflective of the true person behind them. You can bust the whole fucking data set up. You can force them into a reset condition. You can learn to associate words with negative consequences. So, here's a crazy idea. Anytime you see somebody posting with the resist hashtag and they're saying something that kind of breaks the terms of service, report it. If enough of you do that, eventually the algorithm's going to pick up that the hashtag resist is the common theme in all of these posts, and all of a sudden that hashtag becomes radioactive. And if you can do that, God help them. The moderation system will run rampant and it will rip through the left. But what you've got to bear in mind is, I mean, this entire time, I've been guilty of it. I don't do reporting, I don't do blocking and all this sort of stuff. But the algorithm is picking up information from all of these different places. And one of the key things is reports and blocks and associations. So if you constantly form the same groupings, it'll pick up on that. If you constantly get reported, it'll pick up on that, and it'll pick up on the words that you're using in the tweets that are getting reported, the hashtags, the images, the websites that you're linking to will all get little red flags pop up against them. And initially it might not be enough to sway the algorithm into thinking that this is an automatic breach. But eventually, machines learn from data. If their data set is entirely compiled by left-wing report accounts, it's going to have a left-wing bias. So we need to understand that the war we're fighting online is not a standard war. It's guerrilla warfare. They massively outnumber you, they massively overpower you. Well, they don't necessarily outnumber you, but they certainly fucking overpower you and have significantly larger resources than what you're looking at. So if we're going to win this information war, the way we do it is by gaining the element of surprise, by returning to anonymity, by being willing to let go of the fucking ego for once and disseminate information. Why do we log in night after night after night? Because we have a message that we want to spread. But if you're spreading that same message to the same couple of hundred people every night, you're not really making a difference. We need to infiltrate. We need to wake people the fuck up from within their own ranks, not within cliques, not within established circles. Because the bigger your organization, the more of a following you have, the more of a history you have, the easier you are to just simply be dismissed, to be smeared, to be thrown to the lions. You can't do that with a nobody. And if you do, it tends to be optically a bit of a backfire. We need to drop the fucking cult of personality. We need to go back to what the internet once was. A bunch of people talking, exchanging ideas, with no preconceptions, with no limitations. Just ideas. And if they're bad ideas, they will get shouted down. But shout them down on the basis of the idea. Everything else is bullshit. So I'm not going to be that guy that says I'm never going to be back and then comes back 6 months later and looks like a fucking dickhead. But for now, I'm signing off. And it's been real. And I hope to meet you all again, although if all works according to plan, you won't know it's me. And that's the beauty of the internet. We're just all fucking bouncing around, sharing ideas, growing, has the potential to evolve thinking, to evolve the way we look at problems, to evolve the way we interact with our world. The ego, as it always fucking does, gets in the way every time. The internet's a filter. It was always supposed to be that. Well, the original creators may have had different visions, but that was what its true potential was. And we are losing that gift. We need to get it back. And we will. I'll see you around. That's it. I'm done.